Hey guys, welcome to Judge Jodi. We're back after a pretty long break, actually, for me in the Premier League fixtures. I'm back with another double rating show. What a couple of games we've had this week. Honestly, I was so excited to do this show up until about 4:47 p.m. yesterday, I think it was. And then Spurs decided to be Spurs on us again. And then, you know what, I just gave up. So that's what happens. Guys, joining me tonight for a double rating show to break down Leicester and Chelsea. We have Kuva from Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Kuva, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for
Good
having me
evening.
aboard.
Thanks for being here. How are you doing? How are you feeling
Um,
after yesterday? And
how's everybody feeling after yesterday? It's a total
right.
dejection, but at least we have some Leicester ratings to do, and that
Mm-hmm.
that brings back some nice little memories from the week that's just gone past. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, losing to Chelsea's bad at any time, but
I
with
know.
when there's no signings coming in or anything as well, it's just uh,
Yeah, they're keeping it very quiet, aren't they? In terms of
yeah,
that, what are we in? What, a week to go in terms of the January transfer, pretty much.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, and not even an England game to look forward to. It's just
I
waiting
know,
around doing nothing.
and we've got a break coming up as well, don't we? So it's a bit,
We do.
yeah, it's a bit dry, I think.
It is. It is.
What are your thoughts on kind of like, we'll get into obviously the ratings and everything, but what are your thoughts on Wednesday's match, just kind of high level, and then also Chelsea? Any kind of first thoughts in what you think?
Well, Wednesday's match, let's face it, that was just sensational end to the match.
Mhm.
It could it could not have been a better substitution ever. Just at that particular
Amazing.
time of the match, so late, so it absolutely lost cause, and not just pulling the goal back, but the winner as well. That was dream stuff. Um,
Yeah.
that not quite the same as the Ajax semi final because of the how important that game was, but
Yeah.
enjoyable though, wasn't it?
Oh, it
Um,
was amazing.
yeah, and the unity of all the players, everybody going
Hmm.
crazy, Conte
Yeah.
sit back and everything. It was just really good, feel good
Moura
evening.
jumping on the stewards. Did
Yeah,
you see that?
stealing the bobble hat as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
it was
Harry
all
Kane looked like he was into it, didn't he, as well? Like, yeah.
absolutely, and all the
Yeah.
Leicester fans leaving early after
Yeah.
chanting about us getting battered everywhere we go. That just topped it off. That topped it
Hmm.
off.
Yeah.
If anything, you could say it was them that were Spursy.
Yeah.
Makes a
Yeah.
change.
Definitely. Agree.
Definitely makes a change. But then Chelsea has to go and ruin everything on Sunday,
I
don't they?
know.
Well,
Oh,
let's be honest though. Did we really expect anything else?
I didn't, to be
No, no.
honest.
I
The
like
first,
to go for the crazy optimistic scoreline, but
yeah.
that's just because it's fun to
Unfortunately,
do
we don't have I don't think we have the right to kind of have any other thoughts about going into that match yesterday, do we? Like, to be honest, for me, I knew we weren't winning it. A draw could have been all I could have hoped for, but like then you see the lineup and then it's like, no, it's not happening. Like, so I mean, I think the good thing, if there's any kind of good thing that could happen about that match, is that I don't think anyone expected for us to win. So it wasn't really a surprise, maybe.
it.
But
Maybe.
it's not really good, is it?
I think when you look at it at the end of the day, it's the meeting of two world class managers, but
Hmm.
then you're giving one of them home advantage and a Champions League winning squad, and the other one is going to play the away tie with a very average squad. So
Yeah.
it's pretty likely what the outcome was going to be, and they just showed it. They're golfing class on most of our players. Um, Most of their players will get in our team. Very few of ours would get in theirs. That's what we were up against. So
Yeah.
no real surprise, and no point getting too angry about it either. I
I
don't think
agree.
it's just because
Yeah.
it's Chelsea. It hurts more, doesn't it? It's
I agree. And it's just kind of like, what is it, like the third time in a month? It's just like, just let's get it over with, let's get it out of the way, and let's move on for me.
yeah, four
At
times
least
in
it's
one
done.
season though. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
hard to
It's
take.
not, I mean, we got to move on. We got to move on. At
Yeah,
least we don't have to see them again this year. So, I mean,
I think that's the other depressing bit. There's no game to sort of bounce back to now. We've got to
yeah.
wait. It's just
Yeah.
deflation.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like you said, move on in some way if
Move
we
on.
can.
Yeah, 100%. So we are here for ratings. Before we get into that, though, Kuva, I just want to know: do you have a pre-game superstition that you have before any game match that you watch for Spurs at all?
Yep, I wear nothing Spurs related whatsoever. Ages ago, I mean, um, it started because we kept losing semi-finals, and I was it's like 5 semi-finals in a row we'd lost when I'd attended, and I thought, what's going on here? It's every time I was wearing my favourite Spurs shirt, and we'd lost every time. So I thought I'll change it one time. Then I realised my other top at the time was in the wash. I thought I'll just go plain clothed, and we won. And I just thought, is it me
That's
wearing
it.
Spurs?
That's
And it just
it.
it's simple as that. If anything to try and sort of unjinx myself for the team, and
Mhm.
we've been doing okay, and we've been doing okay since. But
That's good. So anytime were you wearing a Spurs top yesterday then?
no,
No.
see, it doesn't work, does it? We still
So we're
try.
the opposite way. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, if it's working for you, let's keep it up.
Well, that's just it. It doesn't work, but it's like most
Yeah,
superstitions. You just keep
superstitions, they're
doing it.
not,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Well, guys, before we get into it, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that we do have in today. So we've got some people joining us. So Richard Evans, hello. Juice Nuts is in the house. How you doing, Juice Nuts? He's saying this should be interesting. Hoover does not hold back, so you got to let it out, big boy. Apparently.
I do hold back. Get taken off air if I don't hold back.
There's a delay. It's fine. Alan's back. Hey, Alan. I think Alan was giving me. It's been a long time since I've been on the show. I think I was looking back, and the last time we had a Premier League, because I only do ratings for Premier League games, and it was the first week of January. I think it was like the 5th or 6th or something of January, and the darts final was on, and I was getting people to give me some updates about what was happening, and Alan was helping me out with that. So big up, Alan. Thank you for joining us
I
tonight.
remember that broadcast.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
game. It was. I had
Yep.
to
Yep.
watch the flashbacks. It was darts is good.
Could have done with the darts on Sunday.
Yeah, well. Mark, how you doing? Thank you. You rock as well. Cool. So I think we should get into this, Kuva. I mean, we've got quite a big
Why not?
show to get into today. We've got, just to let everyone know, we've got a double rating. So we're going to do Leicester, we're going to do Chelsea. So yeah, we've got quite a few people to rate on tonight's show. So I think the best thing to do is really just to get into it and see what our thoughts are on the performances. But first of all, we always have Hugo up. So let's see what we're saying about Hugo. Just so everyone's aware, and there might be a few late people to the stream. So just to advise you, we've kind of got 2 ratings. So we've got the Leicester rating and then the Chelsea rating, and then obviously the stats as well to reflect that. So Kuva, with that in mind, what are your thoughts? A 4. What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, against Leicester, Hugo was actually pretty good with the ball at his feet for a change. I mean, he's always struggled with that bit as being the weakest part of his game, but his passing and just distribution were really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't help but feel he was a bit, beaten a little bit too easily with goals.
Yep.
Perhaps a little bit unlucky with one, but
Darkest goal,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think
first goal in
the first
particular,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was surprising. It didn't seem like the Hugo we know. So I
Yeah.
think he was a little bit off his game. He
Agree.
wasn't commanding the box like he had been in previous matches either, which I was also surprised with. But it is Hugo at the end of the day. You can't get too down on him. He's still a great goalkeeper. So yeah, I just felt he's a bit disappointing in that particular game.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the Chelsea one as
Yeah.
well? Or yeah,
Yeah, you go.
okay. I don't think there's anything he could really do about either goal, to be fair, against Chelsea. I mean, the curling effort into the top corner, when I first
Yeah,
looked at it,
I
I
agree.
remember Phil and I were looking at it and we both thought, it looked like he sort of had lead feet at the time. He planted himself and didn't bother going for it.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you looked at the goal, you realised the sheer quality of it was amazing because it really did bend a long way above and out wide of the post before bending back in.
Yeah.
and he just had no chance. Basically, he knew the moment it was struck, he wasn't going to get to it.
Yeah,
So
that's
how
the
to
thing,
forgive
isn't it?
that?
Yeah, I think a
Um,
lot of people saw that and they were kind of like, he didn't do anything. But I agree, like, there's nothing you can do with a goal like that. It was a phenomenal goal from my
yeah,
point of view.
though
Like,
it was also a little. I thought he was a little bit static in general. Again, in recent weeks we'd been seeing him coming out and getting punches away and claiming balls and taking the pressure off the defence. It felt
mhm,
like he was hugging the line a much more against Chelsea. I
yeah,
don't know whether that was from instruction or perhaps
probably,
maybe he's a
potentially.
niggling injury or something. I don't know why, but
Mhm.
it did get that impression. But it much improved from what he did against Leicester. Anyway, it was very
Yeah,
solid otherwise.
no, I agree. And for me, I'm just very happy that he signed his new contract. I was
Yeah,
worried about that. I think for me, like, I don't think we could have got away with, there's nobody in the running for another goalie from my perspective. And I was very worried that potentially he was going to move on. So yeah, very happy to see him sign that
yeah.
contract. And
I think if he did go, the problem is we'd have to be looking at forking out on someone like Henderson, perhaps from Man United, and he's
yeah,
going to cost an awful lot of money. It would
yeah,
have been a huge problem. At least we've got a couple of years extra out of Hugo. This is a great signing.
yeah, agree. Definitely agree. I think we're going to move on. So, Jaffet Tanganga. Okay. Yeah.
This this one pains me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's he's obviously thinks that he's going to be playing as a centre back. When he gets shifted to full back,
Yeah.
he's a
It's the
fish out
position.
of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not good on the ball. He's regularly out of position. It is
Hmm.
it was very difficult to sort of justify him being there at all against Leicester. He was the weak link. They knew that as well.
Yeah.
Um, he gets targeted now. That's a big worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a young lad. He could probably do with being protected from all of this for the sake of his career. He doesn't look like one of the sort of ball playing centre backs that Conte is going to want.
No.
I think maybe he needs a little bit of a loan away. Someone, I think he'd
Yeah.
do really well at somewhere like Burnley, perhaps, where they got to really fight for things. Toughen him up, get used to the basics of defending. He might
And I
come
should
back as a
enjoy
player,
that.
but yeah, or it's going to be somewhere
But yeah.
like perhaps what Chris Smalling did, go to Italy and use
Yeah.
his physique to sort of establish himself. Might work
Mm,
out, but he's really struggling for us.
yeah.
Against Chelsea, they targeted his side again because they know he's the weak link. Him and Doherty offered just nothing
Yeah.
for Chelsea could just waltz through. At times, it seemed like both of them were unable to mark one player. Um, it not that there's just no sort of comfort zone for him at all. There, he's left exposed. I mean, Doherty was going nothing to help him, of course. He's
Nope.
attack minded as a wing back. There was just nothing. He was a bit lucky. He didn't get 2 yellow cards in the first half as well, in my opinion. He
Yeah.
could well have been taken an early bath.
That
But
was, that
the
was
lad's
my
struggling. It's heartbreaking to see because you don't want to see that with a youngster coming through the
I
academy and things.
agree. That's the thing, he is young and everything, but and like it does take, the back line sometimes a lot more to improve and sometimes mature in terms of that. But yeah, to be playing him in our first squad with, the technique and stuff that he has, it's not great for me.
His sense of positioning as well is poor, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You need to be bloody brilliant with your recovery play if your positioning's not good to start with, and
Yeah.
he's just not, unfortunately. But
One
I
thing
think
I've always oh sorry.
no, sorry. I'll just my feeling is he needs to be away from the club to develop.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
agree. I think a loan definitely is going to improve him. And I think one thing for me, I've always stood up for Tanganga up until kind of lately. He's been a bit of a liability for us. But it is, I don't want to age bracket people or put youth or all that kind of stuff in, but it is a factor, I think. And I agree with you in that, sending him out somewhere will give him some more experience and potentially he'll come back and be, bigger and better because there is talent there. I have seen it. It's just maybe it's just the experience that's lacking at the moment, and it's also that constantly getting yellow cards, constantly the aggression that he shows, which is a good thing, but it can be very detrimental, like we saw
Mm.
yesterday. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you need to be very controlled with it, don't you?
yeah,
He does have that little wild impulse in him, but who knows? I think unfortunately, I just don't see his future being with us at all. Because
mm,
even when he does develop as a defender, I just don't think he has that natural ability on the ball. He always looks uncomfortable. He could prove me wrong, but I just feel he's going to be better off in a different league, perhaps. Yeah, perhaps abroad or something. But
yeah,
there is something. I mean, clearly he's got a good attitude, and that is a big positive for him.
yeah,
I
definitely.
think he'll want to learn. He's eager to do well. He's not sitting back on his laurels, is he?
No way. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I agree. Well, let's hope maybe some bigger and better things for him elsewhere then. And with that, I'm going to move on to Davidson Sanchez. Yeah.
well,
Davidson
I
Sanchez.
yeah, I think we got similar sort of marks because I think we'd agree he's got that feeling of he did okay in both games.
Yeah.
There was nothing spectacular. He sort of got
No.
on with his job. Um, I think he always looks better when he's got Dier alongside him. Dier
Yeah.
seems to have that sort of rock solid.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. He needs
uh,
someone to give him orders, I think. I think
yeah,
Sanchez can't give himself instructions. I think he needs Dyer there to to
mm,
direct him and tell him what to do. Is my thoughts.
absolutely. Um, I think yeah. So he did fine against Leicester. He's a perfectly solid job there. Little bit of wobbles against Chelsea. I think this time he actually did struggle against Lukaku, whereas
Mm.
before I thought he had a very good game against Lukaku. He was managing to match him physically and holding him up enough to for players to deal with the situation. But he was getting turned a bit this time and out muscled, and it was showing at times. But players will struggle against Lukaku because he
Yeah.
is phenomenally strong.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think for me in the Leicester game, I gave him a higher mark. Just I don't know. I think he was coping well. I think he had that chance. There was a header that he kind of had a chance with that didn't go anywhere. But I think for Sanchez, it was a pretty good game for him from my perspective. But then, yeah, yesterday, like you said, I think he was struggling against Lukaku. I think he could have done more maybe to stop Chelsea's second goal potentially. Not just him, but I think a lot of people could have done that. But I think Sanchez could have stepped in there. I just don't think it was a good game for everyone yesterday. The whole team
Yeah,
obviously kind
yeah,
of
that's
let
for
us
sure.
down. So, but I do think the defense could have done more. And unfortunately for Sanchez, that includes him. And with that, we're going to move swiftly on to Eric Dyer. Unless you have any more to say on that.
With Sanchez, he's an interesting one because we trouble is we've been saying it for a long time. It's that potential is there. There's something there what makes you think he might just step up. He might be able to make it, but then he keeps reverting to this
Yeah,
sudden clumsy mode and
isn't
lets it
it?
all down again. It's
Yeah.
very frustrating.
Hmm.
He's another one perhaps might be better off away from the club again because he used to be so dominant when he was in the Dutch league. He could use his strength and his pace there. People tend to be even stronger than it's stronger here. We always play a more physical game in England than the Eredivisie, but
Yeah.
it seems like he wants to be the kind of the bully type player to be at his best,
Yeah.
and he can't get his way doing that in the Premier League too often. Yeah, annoying.
It's
There's a
annoying,
player
isn't
there.
it?
We're just not
Yeah.
seeing it, are we? Yeah.
Yeah, no. And Sam's saying that, Sanchez is another one whose positioning is suspect as well,
Mm,
I think. So
yeah.
I agree with that,
I
definitely.
think his advantage there is he can be quite good at the recovery tackle and uh, catching up to the player again, unless you count the little face lawnmower incident with Man City a while ago. Um, but yeah, he definitely does have some issues that are holding him back.
Yeah. And then Sam saying again, biggest problem yesterday was lack of belief. We never believed. The manager and players never believed. We only played with two attackers yesterday. Yeah. Bergwijn and Kane. Like pretty much, you'll see. I don't want to give stuff away, but from my perspective, I agree. Like yesterday, I don't know what it is with Chelsea. It's just they've got it ingrained in their minds, don't they? That it's just not going to happen
I
there.
think
So.
I think it's a general unfortunately, they're just a better quality of player than we have, man
Yeah.
for
Oh,
man.
100%.
It
Quality
just
is
shows.
another.
So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Conte's been fiddling with the system a bit. Yesterday it kind of reeked to me of
He doesn't
not
have
quite
enough.
parking the bus, but
Squad depth is nothing.
he was doubling up on the flanks. It looked like that was the
Yeah.
idea in that strange selection that we saw at first. I
Yeah.
thought he was trying to compact that space as Chelsea can maneuver in it, but they did anyway. It's like the players weren't good enough to do that instruction. They couldn't hold that bit of it, that area. They'll always find space. Chelsea did, and we struggled to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what we can do. January's not going to give us much, is it? But we have to move, and we're going to move on to Eric Dier. So this game was obviously for yesterday. So good to see Dier back. Like, I mean, I probably wouldn't have said that this time last year. But yeah, I mean, it's really crazy how reliant we are on Dier this season, isn't it?
It is.
One of the only good players for me yesterday, other than kind of the attackers. I think, he was blocking well, trying. I think, he was a little bit rusty, I feel, probably because he had a few weeks off. But for Dier, like, he did well. He did really well. He brought the leadership back to the team, and he tried to kind of instill that in that back line. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You've given him a 7. So what did you
He
think?
was head and shoulders our best defender against Chelsea.
Yeah.
He outmuscled Lukaku. He was good when he was bringing the ball out.
Hmm.
The only thing that blotted his performance, perhaps you could say, is it was a bit needless giving away the free kick that sort of led to
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the Chelsea goals. But other than that, he was playing the part.
Yeah.
He could match up with Chelsea. Not a lot of players on that pitch could say that yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. No, 100%. I think I mean, my scores aren't very high anyway, so that's kind of why I gave him higher score than everyone else. But yeah, no, I think from the defense point of view, yeah, he's definitely stood out for me, and just very happy to have him back. And
Yeah,
hopefully,
I've tried not to overreact on scores because obviously the feelings of we were rubbish. Let's give everybody a 2 out of
yeah,
10,
yeah,
and it's not like that.
no,
We're just very
exactly.
flat and struggle to get through Chelsea, who are very good.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to hand it to the opposition.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, no, I agree with that. Unfortunately, it's always Chelsea. Ben Davies. Oh, we're matching up
Interesting, matching up very well there.
here.
Yeah, against Leicester, brilliant. What an outlet from the back he
Yeah.
is. Getting forward brilliantly, linking up the defence of the attack, bringing the ball out really well. Positionally, he was great.
Yeah.
You can't really fault his performance at all. However, against Chelsea, out of that position again, out and playing more of a wing back or playing more of a left back role, and he was just marking shadows. It was he's such a different player when he plays there now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Against Ziyech and Mount, they were drifting centre and right. He couldn't stay with either. He looked lost. He was getting
Yeah.
absolutely no support from
He wasn't
Sessegnon
getting
whatsoever.
forward at all, was he? Like, it was just a struggle for
No,
him, wasn't it?
yeah,
It was
it was
very
just
dodgy there. Yeah.
deer in the headlights at times. You can't really. It's in a way I find it difficult to even rate him as a 4 because it's not really his fault. A lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that flat team performance, like you're saying. It's the whole thing as a collective.
Yeah.
Um,
I think so.
yeah,
And it's just
sorry, go
different.
on.
I was going to say different formation, different position, and you've kind of got to factor everything in together as well, unfortunately. And sometimes that means you got to rate a player down, but yeah, just wasn't his day. I don't think yesterday,
I
but yeah,
think
I agree with you on. Oh, sorry.
on the other hand, we were sort of getting away with it for a while. You're beginning to think perhaps we could play for this draw after all,
Mm.
which is kind of how we were set up. But with Kane and Bergwijn up front, they were thinking perhaps that was them trying to replicate what Kane and Sonny were doing from last season.
Yeah.
I could see a tactic there. It wasn't the most exciting of tactics, but
No.
you could see perhaps what we were trying to do, just soak up the pressure and hit on the break.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. There was definitely tactics involved, but it was just sometimes it's not pretty to watch as a Spurs fan or any football fan in general. Like if you can see what the manager's trying to do to make it work, but then it's it's
Sorry, I'm
just
just laughing at Sam's
frustrating. I
comment
was
there.
about to say, yeah, bringing that up now. So don't worry, guys. It looked like we'll get Traore to solve all our defensive woes. Any thoughts on that one, Cooper?
Traore, total
What are your
football.
thoughts on that one?
Oh God.
Probably sounds like
in
it might
some
be similar to
in
mine.
some ways, I am looking forward to if we do sign him, because I will love to do player ratings with him playing in a
Yeah.
match. What's it going to be, 9 or 0, or is
Exactly.
nothing
You're
in
gonna have
between?
it's gonna be all or nothing really, isn't it? This guy, I don't I can see why. I can honestly see why, but in the same essence is kind of like, is it just gonna be the same as what we've got in a different way? Are we trying to plug a hole and put a band-aid over something that's not going to fix?
Oh no, I think the thing is he's wildly unpredictable,
Yeah.
because he clearly doesn't have a clue what he's doing. So how's anybody else going to guess? So otherwise, it's just stopping a charging animal that's got baby oil over him. It's a rhino really when he's going forward.
He's a beast. He is a beast, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see. And it is looking more and more likely that that's going to happen, isn't it? So I guess we'll have to see what
Well,
happens
is
in the
it
next
though?
few days. Well, I don't
I can
know.
I can see Levy haggling till close of deadline, and then just say he was too expensive, as we refused to pay an extra £5 or something.
Yeah.
Nah, it's always the same with Levy. Yeah,
Mm,
difficult one. But Ben Davies, again, I don't think I can blame him too much, but you just have to accept that it wasn't a good performance.
yeah,
Not against Chelsea.
agree.
Get him back in that left side of the centre backs, and he looks a different player.
Well, unfortunately, we're moving on to somebody else that has not been performing very well for us lately. And he did not impress you at all in the Leicester game, I can see. So, just so everybody's aware, we're doing Leicester and Chelsea. So, this is not for yesterday's game, this is for the Leicester performance. Kuva's given Emerson a 3, and I've given him a 4. So, Kuva, over to you.
Here's the shocking bit: is this was a better performance than he's done this year so far. The bloke's
Oh,
shocking,
bad.
absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
He just looks this. It just offers nothing. He can't defend it properly.
Mhm.
Offers absolutely nothing whatsoever going forward.
Agree.
I just
No
don't see the
impact.
point.
Yep.
It's no,
Yep.
it's just
It's no The
abysmal
crossing's
signing so far.
terrible. It's just, yeah, agree. It's terrible. It's bad. And the fact that, we had Doherty to come on for him was kind of like, if that's our only replacement, he comes on and it's kind of night and day for me,
Yeah,
in terms of the performance on that day. Um, Doherty, to be fair, had a pretty decent game, and we'll get into that on Wednesday.
he
But
did.
yeah, the fact that we've got Doherty, who a lot of us probably wouldn't suggest as a decent replacement for Emerson, is scary, and it's not good, and it shows the lack of quality that we have. And um, yeah, I agree. Gave him a
Um,
4. I think, yeah, 3 is probably more than
for
good.
me, like you're a Brazilian player, and what the first thing you always used to think about Brazilians is, technical ability, bit of flair, bit of
Mm,
passing movement, put a few goals in them, that sort of thing. But you look at him, and he's got none of that.
yeah,
Um, uh, for a wing back, especially in the Conte system, they first and foremost they've got to be able to attack. They've got to be able to provide that
yeah,
width in the attack,
got to get
and
forward.
he's just not doing
Yeah,
that.
no.
Um, I just don't get it at all. I don't know why we signed him.
I've said many times before. I mean, it wasn't for the wingback role, but I wanted Tomiyasu, and we've kind of seen what happened there. We got Emerson. I didn't do a lot of research into him before we got him in, and He has not, impressed at all
Mm.
for me. It's how many times can you give him the excuse of, it's a new league, it's a new season, it's a new squad, it's a new manager. That's kind of the stuff I was saying when he first came in, and giving him kind of the benefit of the doubt with those excuses. But it's kind of like, we're in January now. You've been in the squad for quite a while. You've had time to kind of integrate. So I don't know. Doesn't look good for me.
No, same for me. I think you're being generous with your 4, but then you're a kind-hearted soul. That's probably
Well, the
why.
thing is, I am kind-hearted, but I'm also a very harsh judge. So I think, I mean, there's not much more I can say. I think we're going to move on, because we could talk about him all day,
It's
and I
only
don't
so
really
long
want to.
you can stare at a train wreck,
Yeah,
isn't there?
I agree.
Um,
Doherty.
against Leicester.
Yeah,
Well,
what's
first,
going on there?
we've already discussed this. First
Yeah.
and foremost, what a massive improvement on Emerson. At
Mhm.
least Doherty does get forward. He does get involved.
Yeah.
It was certainly one of the goals that uh, our second goal was down to Doherty getting in the box. He
Mhm.
miscontrolled it with his chest, sure, but he was in there, and it forced the error from the defenders. And then Bergwijn did the
Yeah.
rest, slamming that home. So fair play to him. He was doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing, affect
Mhm.
the game in the final third. He did that,
Yeah.
and he was doing it consistently. It was good to watch. Always going to be a bit shaky getting him chasing back, but that's why you play the 3 men at the back in the centre, because a hard working midfield, you cover him when he goes forward, because they
Mhm.
can't always get back. So he concentrated on the attacking part of it, and he looked better for it.
Yeah. No, you looked really
Um,
good on Wednesday for me. Like, so
yeah,
much better than what we've seen. And it's kind of like, is it because Emerson was so poor and Doherty came in? But I don't think it was. I think he actually was really good on Wednesday. So I
mm.
agree with what you said.
Yeah. Well, not raving sort of scores, are they? I mean, 6 out of 10's doing
Yeah,
okay.
it's better than
So
average.
yeah,
Just
yeah, which is
just.
far better than we thought we saw earlier in the season with him, wasn't
Hmm.
it? So
Yeah.
that's definitely a positive. Um, Against Chelsea, on the other hand, um,
Mm.
I mean, even though I'm a Spurs fan, you got to say, surely that was a sending off.
Yeah,
Um,
I
uh,
agree. Yeah.
yeah, anybody that's played at all can see pretty clearly when somebody's going for the ball and when they're not. And I
Hmm.
don't buy that he was going for the ball for 1 second.
No.
The only saving grace is it was against Chelsea, and I quite like watching them get hurt. Uh,
Yeah.
Battle of the Bridge was fantastic. It didn't matter that we didn't win it. It was
Yeah.
I just enjoyed setting about them and laying them out all over the pitch. More of it. So
Yeah.
I'll forgive him for that. But the rest of the game, he just
Yeah.
wasn't up to the job. He couldn't really mark people. Couldn't get forward.
No.
Um,
No. There
is
was
just
lack of quality, like
yeah,
just nothing in his final ball really, was there? There's nothing
fish out of
there.
water the whole game.
Yeah.
Just offered nothing.
Yeah. And again, it just shows the lack of quality that we have, unfortunately, in the squad at the moment. And it's just another reason that we need to move on in terms of players and just get some signings in. So yeah, unfortunately for us, we've kind of got Emerson and Doherty, and it's like, oh, who's better? But depends on the day, I think.
Indeed. But well, I'd happily get rid of both
I
of them,
think
to be
yeah.
honest. What's the youngster that's been on the bench a few times recently? I'm forgetting the name now. It's Pletoskos. Oh, I can't remember how to pronounce
Oh,
it.
Pescozzi. Yeah, he's good.
I can't
Pescozzi.
pronounce it. It
Yeah.
just makes my teeth itch when I'm trying to say it.
Yeah.
But
He's
yeah,
really good, actually.
he seems to have a bit of talent, and people raving
Mm.
about his ability. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind seeing him given a
Put him
little
in.
run out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
May as
worth seeing
well.
what they can do. If he fails, that's okay.
Yeah, give him a go. Give him a try.
That's right.
There's
Shove them
there's
all
not
in.
much else to, yeah, not much else going on there at the moment. Cool. So let's move on. Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. Okay. Okay.
He's another one. I found him. It's a typical Hojbjerg sort of performance against Leicester. Well, both matches really. Same deal on both. Aggression, commitment. but he seems to be lacking the pace to keep up with the play at times, and that really hinders him. He becomes irrelevant when the passing around him is very quick. He doesn't get up to the player fast enough. But when you are up against it, you want somebody with his attitude. You want somebody who's going to put their body on the line like he does. So he's important for the team. He's just perhaps a little off the pace. He's doing okay though.
As well. Yeah, creativity and quality. I think for me, I think I agree with you. Like, we need him in the team. I've said it before. Like, he's very important for us, but unfortunately, sometimes he doesn't have the kind of quality that we're looking for in that role. So yeah, I think against Leicester, it was okay. Oh, sorry.
He's a strange one at times as well, because I'll see him start a game and he misplaces about 5 or 6 passes in a row, and I've got my head in my hands thinking he's having a shocking game. And then he just slowly builds into it, and you realise, actually, he's getting in some really good tackles and he's messing up their attacks a lot. He's proving his worth. And then suddenly he goes into this little phase where he starts pinging off a few really good passes. And then you've got to think, well, does he played well, or do you remember the beginning bit where he was looking quite poor? And that's why I end up with a 6 mark, because he did okay, but it was a bit erratic.
Yeah, and I think that's where the quality kind of comes in, isn't it? Because he has, like you said, he has good moments where he can, and he does kind of hold it in the midfield where he can, but it is lacking creativity, quality, and kind of stuff that we need to help drive the ball forward to get the goals in. So
Bit of consistency with it, really, as well.
yeah, definitely. I think that most of the squad lacks that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And going back to Traore, if we bring him in, consistency again.
I prefer we get a footballer, but if we have to have him, at least there's a comedy element.
Yeah.
If
Well, I'll invite you back on.
you're 3-0 down, throw him on and see what happens.
It's to throw the dice, really, isn't it? If
you're stung anyway, you might as well jab the beehive
Oh,
stick.
God.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Who we got? Skipp. So yeah, Skipp.
Skippy, at first thought I was going to give Skippy an 8 in the Leicester game. I thought he'd really put himself about well, but I thought perhaps he could have affected it a bit more. He did drift in and out of the game a little bit. But overall, it was that kind of free. It was more of a free role he had against Leicester. It really seemed to suit him. He was allowed to get up box to box a little bit more and affect the game in the different areas. And he grew into the game, I thought. We should have been certainly ahead before going into that sort of final quarter of the game. We'd definitely done it. We'd created quite a lot of chances. I think it's probably the only thing you'd argue was letting Kane down on the night was missing a couple of the chances, but we'll get to him in a minute, won't we? But Skippy was everywhere. I really enjoyed what I was seeing. Against Chelsea, on the other hand, he was just ineffective. The effort was there. He was getting some tackles in. There was some good stuff there, but he was just being overrun. It was basically he didn't have kind of a set role. I think they were trying to give him a free role again, but it was a little bit more reserved because they wanted to work on just Kane and Bergwijn as the players that they really commit forward at all times. But Skipp was there to try and support, but he got hemmed back too much. Struggled. The whole team struggled.
He came on a bit too late, I think. What was it? I think it was the 57th minute for Tanganga. And I mean, to be fair, it was warranted. He needed to come on because Tanganga, we needed him off really after what he was doing yesterday. So, you know what? I think he brought energy when he came on yesterday, but then I think it was a bit too little, too late, because I think the team and the squad had already kind of had that mental block of this is done now, and unfortunately, I don't think he could kind of do much really. But he's such an important player for us, and I think you can see kind of we've given him 7s for the Leicester game, and I've always given him quite high ratings because he is so important for us and he does do so much, important stuff for us. So yeah, I think we can't lose him. I think it's just how we use him and just making sure that we use him in the right way, for me, really. So
You gave him a 5. My heart sunk a bit.
no, to be fair, yeah. So I wasn't great in terms of
No,
goals. Five
it's
for
fair.
me is
It's
an
fair.
average score. You got to do
Yeah,
something
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
To kind of get.
It's a fair shout as a 5.
I can't
That's
bring bias into it. As much as I really like Skipp, I don't think he did anything above and beyond. But that's just my thoughts, and we all have our own opinions. So
absolutely, absolutely. Like you said, he brought energy into the game. That was the main thing. That was why he was introduced.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, let's move. Let's move. Harry Winks. So 8. Oh, 8. That's quite a high
Yeah.
one.
Um,
Leicester.
Winks. Basically, he was picking the foxes apart at will with the ball.
Mm,
He was creating chance after chance, opportunity after opportunity. He missed a few
he got the
tackles.
assist as well, didn't
He
he?
got dispossessed a few times as well. But it was at the heart of most things that were good that we were doing. Um, Fairly swift with his distribution of the ball as well. It just kept us on the front foot a lot of the time. It was an impressive amount of chances we created against them, and
Yeah.
he was the one. He was sort of the metronome, keeping us ticking over, getting the attacks building very quickly.
Yeah.
Him and Kane together, they were linking up well really often.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, a lot of his work was getting unnoticed as well. He's started to develop as a more all-round player, but it's kind of in a subtle way. He's never going to
Mm.
be a big tackler or anything like that, but he's in
No,
a hurry
he
to
doesn't
get
like
back into the
getting
right
touched.
positions a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Mm.
I thought he was outstanding. It was a really good performance from him.
Do you think?
Uh,
Do you just on that? Do you think, as Sean Hurl puts it, he's having a Winks naissance at all?
yeah, seems
Yeah,
to be.
under
Conte
Conte.
seems to like him, and we are consistently getting some good performances from him now. So perhaps there's a bit of life in the. You'd say life in the old dog, but he's not that old, is he?
No,
Was
he's
he
not.
26 or so, something like that?
Yeah, I don't think he's that old at all. He's definitely improving for me under Conte. There's definite progression I've seen. So yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
His set pieces as well. They've been good for me.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
You don't get a one of those set pieces in when you aim to get it underneath the crossbar. He certainly did by putting it straight in the cup, didn't he?
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Generally speaking, you compare set pieces. I mean, compare them to Lo Celso. No
I
comparison
don't
at all.
even. Well, that's the thing. We don't have like other than Son. Someone was saying Davies a few weeks ago does good ones, but we haven't really seen it for Spurs. I think for Wales, I think he does, but we don't really have anyone other than Son and maybe Winks now that can kind of take them. Really, I don't think can we? Do we?
Dyer maybe. Dyer's
Maybe.
taken some decent free kicks in the past, direct free kicks anyway.
Yeah.
He did one the other week, didn't he? That led to Reggie's goal when Dyer hit the
Oh
post
yeah.
with a free kick.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, looks more dangerous than when Harry Kane takes them, that's for sure. Because like when Harry Kane takes them, they're into the wall or about 20 yards over the bar every
Yeah, they're
time.
not good. They're not good. He
How
needs
can you
to
be
work
that
on
good a player and so bad at free kicks? I don't know.
Right, let's move on. Let's move. Unless any more to say on Harry Winks?
Oh yeah.
Let's
Chelsea game.
Chelsea. Sorry, yeah, we didn't get into that.
Because the whole team was struggling. I actually think Winks did okay. A lot of the time, he was having to deal with both Jorginho and uh,
Mm,
Kovacic,
Kovacic.
um,
Yeah,
and he was by himself. So he was having to stand up to them a lot of the time, and he was doing a fair job at it. I was really impressed with it. But I mean, end of the day, you're going to get overrun if you've got two players of that caliber up against you. You're
yeah,
going to
that's the
come off
thing.
second best, and that
Mm.
happens. So I mean, I know players all slate Winks saying, "Oh, he just disappeared," but I don't think he did. I think he put in a good shift. There's just nothing he could do about most of it. The game
Yeah.
was passing the whole team by. It was it's
Mm.
difficult to sort of put it all on one or two individuals, with exceptions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, he did okay. I thought over the two games, I was really happy with him.
I think with the lineup and everything, and I think him being in kind of the two there in the middle, it wasn't as comfortable for him. for me, and I think maybe that was where he struggled potentially, which is why I kind of didn't give him a higher score than a 5. I think for me it was average. I think he looked, I think he looked okay, but again, I didn't really mark anyone else up either. So.
Like you said, that missing that extra player in midfield made a big
Yeah,
difference because then he's facing 2 players instead of
yeah,
1
yeah.
far
But
too
he did
often.
well. He did well.
Yeah, he did well. Certainly didn't disgrace himself, did he?
No, not like in some other games potentially in the past.
Absolutely.
All right, Sergio. So this is for the Leicester game. Just if people are joining late, we are rating Sergio just for one game. So Kuva gave him a 6. I've given him a 5. I was really
Uh,
happy to see him back.
yeah, love the lad, but he's been a bit erratic lately, hasn't he?
Hmm.
Sometimes you think he's back, that exciting player that first arrived. You think, wow, and then the next game he's just suddenly off the boil again. You think, oh,
Yeah.
perhaps Sessegnon's a better bet now. And
Mm.
then Sessegnon goes off the boil, and you think they're not. Neither of them's been really consistent, which is a bit of a problem. But I thought he was at fault for one of the Leicester goals, but well, at least a
I
little
think
bit.
he was as well. The first goal. The
Yeah,
first goal. That's why I
yeah,
didn't give him a higher score, because I think he was. I do think he was.
absolutely.
Um,
But he does provide that pace and attack on that flank, and
yeah,
without him there, it's very lacking,
yeah,
very noticeable. So I think I always look at it with the wing backs. I forgive them a bit of defensive frailty if they're offering something going forward,
something going forward.
um,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he certainly does that.
yeah. Definitely. I think he made such a difference. I think for us in terms of that attacking threat, kind of going forward, like you said. But unfortunately, it was that for me, kind of being at fault for the Leicester's kind of first goal. That was the only reason I gave him a 5. So, and it's his first game back, so we don't really know how he's feeling and all that kind of stuff. But 5, an average 5.
Can't
Average
argue.
5 for
Can't
me.
argue.
I can't argue. Right, who we got next? Lucas Moura. I told you there's so many people to get through. 5s all round for all the games. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
fine. It was typical Moura in a lot of ways.
Mm,
Lot of work rate. Couldn't fault him for that. He worked hard for the team. He always does. But he,
yeah.
he just offered so little in both games. It was really
Yeah.
disappointing. After we
Yeah.
saw that sort of magical goal a little while back, and we're thinking
Mhm.
he's back.
He's back.
He's
That was
probably,
amazing, that goal.
yeah. I thought this is the big turning point. We're going to start seeing this world beater that he always
Yeah.
felt is there somewhere, but no, he just didn't really get into
Just
it.
drifts, just been drifting.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he had much impact on the Leicester game. I think he maybe nearly got an assist, I think, but the Kane goal was disallowed,
yeah.
from Leicester's game. So maybe it would have been higher if that had happened for me. So that was kind of good. But other than that, I mean, Leicester and Chelsea, both of it, like Chelsea came on for Cess in the 57th minute. I pretty much think I'd zoned out by that stage, to be honest. And I don't really remember much from him at all. Maybe I
That's
think he had a knock from Wednesday's game as well, I heard. So maybe he was a bit injured,
that's
potentially.
possible. It would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just nothing there, was it? But he makes up for it by working so hard that he offers
Mm,
something,
the energy,
even
isn't it?
if it's disappointing. It's at least there's effort, there's
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
A lot of his teammates will appreciate the work he puts in chasing
Yeah.
people down. So
Yeah.
yeah, can't be too hard on him. I think.
I think he does have a lot of passion for like being there, and like we were saying after the Leicester game, like he was jumping on the steward's shoulders and stuff. So I think he does have I think a fight for the club maybe that is there, and unfortunately maybe he just had a bit of an injury on
You'd,
yesterday's
you'd,
game,
you'd
and
certainly have him over a few other players we could mention,
yeah,
wouldn't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Ryan Sessegnon. That was a weird choice, I thought. What did you think about that when he was in the starting lineup yesterday?
Again, I think it comes back to that. The tactic I saw by Conte was to
Mm.
basically shore up those flanks to stop Chelsea having it so easy passing the
Mhm.
passing the ball around there, and into space all the time, and it just didn't work. Players weren't doing their jobs. Sessegnon was giving Davies no support whatsoever.
Yeah.
Barely got forward either. When he did get forward, he had a glorious chance to do something. He completely fluffed it, didn't he?
Was it Kane's goal or Kane's disallowed goal? Was he not helping
No,
him out?
there was another point. He got through in loads of space, and he had a chance to
Oh,
put the
yeah.
ball in, and he just got it all wrong. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he was just off it today. But I don't want to be too hard on him either. He's a young player, and he was great against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Just not his day this time.
Yeah.
You can't say put your rose tinted glasses on and say he had a good game, can you? Just
No.
he dipped, but he'll bounce back on. I think there's a player there.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for me, that's why it was the 5. I think average 5, like, didn't do anything too terrible, didn't do anything too impressive. So I just gave him a 5. But yeah. Oh, I gave him a 4, actually.
You give him a 4, yeah.
I gave him a 4. But yeah, average 4.
Kind of this. I think perhaps we're being a little bit
Below
harder on him
average.
because we remember that performance against Liverpool, etc., and we're thinking he should be offering a bit more. So you get
He
a bit
should.
harder on the player then maybe. It could be something there, psychological perhaps.
Right, let's move on. Stevie B. Stevie B. So we've got a couple of ratings. I didn't rate all the subs, but he did come on as a sub on Wednesday's game. He did come on as a sub. Yeah, we're matching. We're matching. So 10s and 6s.
Funny seeing that. Yeah.
10s
What
for
can you say?
Stevie B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that substitute performance on Wednesday. I mean,
Can't give
literally,
him anything
what
less,
more
can
could a substitute possibly
you?
do in one game in
What
that
was it?
amount of
11
time?
minutes.
Yeah,
11 minutes he was on the pitch.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
2
Yeah,
goals in 11 minutes, like, saves the game for us, brings it all around. You
exactly.
can't give
Yeah,
him anything less for me.
not just saving the game, winning it, and everything.
Winning the game,
It
yeah.
was just
Yeah.
unbelievable turnaround. It's like Lucas against Ajax. You just think, how
Mhm.
can you not give him a 10 out of 10 for that
You
game?
have to, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anything else, when you look at kind of the ratings and stuff, there's nothing more than you could ask for. Like,
Sorry, excuse me, just for 1 second.
that's all right. But yeah, I think for me, definitely 10 out of 10. Obviously came on for Reguilón. Final moments of the match, 2 beautiful goals to see out the game. 10s for me. I'll move on to Chelsea. So I've given him a 6. I've given him a 6 because I think, out of the squad and kind of the ratings that we've already seen, he was one of the only ones that played well for me. Not as good as Wednesday. Nothing can beat what happened on Wednesday. I think it was a fluke of luck and extreme circumstances on Wednesday night. But I think, after that goal on Wednesday, he looked so much more confident. Like, he came to the game, and as you would expect him to be, I think. I think for me, Stevie B has been lacking a lot of confidence, and I think Wednesday night's performance definitely was such a turning point and a big a big thing for him to have that happen. So come into Chelsea, knowing that we're probably not going to win the game and having that mentality of we're playing Chelsea again. For me, I think he did well. Not great,
Yeah.
but he did well.
I think he absolutely ran his socks off against Chelsea. I really couldn't ask anything more from him because there was so little support. He had Kane to trying to feed him a chance. There was nothing else coming from anywhere else, was there? I mean,
No,
Sessegnon was doing nothing, Doherty doing nothing.
no.
Everybody was hemmed back, so he had it was a nightmarish time. What's he going to do against an entire defence? He tried his
Yeah,
best. That's all we can say. I
yeah.
was
He looked
actually really
shattered as
encouraged
well
seeing
by the
that.
end.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he looked shattered, like absolutely shattered by the end of it,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
But yeah, I really hope we've turned a corner with him, and we start seeing some amazing things from him. If he's one that's staying on, like I've always, he's another kind of one of those Traore type, all or nothing. I think for me. Um, so I just hope that we do see him and we do see him start, some more, and he does some great things for us because there is definitely talent there. It's just
Yeah, I think against a lesser team, when we're a little bit more adventurous as well,
Yeah.
it'll shine again. If we can get him playing facing the goal, so he's running onto the through ball, he's such a different player. If he has to turn back and face the play with his back to goal, is a waste of his talents. He's a speed merchant. We've got to use him in that way.
Yeah. Juice Nuts is saying Chelsea marked Bergie out of the game as they did with our other key players. Yeah. Yeah. Agree, Juice Nuts. Thank you for watching. Right. So who's next? Harry Kane. Last but not least, Harry Kane.
Similar figures. I thought it
Yeah.
might be. For me, against Leicester, man of the match, everything went through him. Literally everything. Every good move we did. It would start with either Winks starting the move going from the back, or deeper positions anyway. Kane getting involved, laying the ball off, scoring great goal. The only thing letting him down was some finishing, because he could have had 4 or 5 goals by himself, perhaps.
Well, that's the thing. Look at that. It's 3 of 10. So he had 10 attempts at goal. Only 3 of them were on target. But that people could look at that and say that's not great, and it's not great. But it's the fact that he's coming back with 10 attempts at goal in one game for me shows that the confidence and everything's back, because the last few weeks and months that Kane's kind of been rating Kane, he just hasn't been himself. He hasn't been shooting. He hasn't been attempting goals. So the fact that he did have 10 attempts shows that it's coming back, I think, for me.
Yeah.
So I agree. Yeah.
He looked full of confidence. So it's the word you like to use when he's on top form is like rampaging. It's he's shrugging players off them like they're nothing, and getting the shots away. And Harry Kane's not his sort of clinical striker like a Gary Lineker or something used to be, where it scored 2 goals from 2 efforts. Harry Kane thrives on creating loads of chances for himself, and getting other players put in so they might be able to get the ball back to him when he runs into the box late as well. And it showed here. It's a lot of shots. That's his great skill, is he does create the chances. So you could say he's not the most clinical in the world, but that's because he's doing the work to actually create those chances in the first place. He was fantastic. Head and shoulders best player on the pitch on Wednesday.
What about yesterday?
Yesterday, I thought he was our best player.
Yeah.
Attacking wise, anyway. Him and Dier, I think, could really hold their heads up, said they'd put in a shift. He was having to obviously work with so many players marking him all the time, but he was using his strength well. He was holding the ball up well. He did manage to try and get Bergwijn away again a few times. Unfortunately, the Chelsea defence were alert to that each time. It was very difficult going for him. But Kane was doing what he did well. He should have had a goal. It's a really weak decision. I can understand why they gave it as a foul. It's so soft.
We're just so unlucky at the moment, aren't we? I mean, I also think it was warranted that it was given. I understand why, but it's just I feel like we're so unlucky at the moment with all the.
There was a good header. He did a good header as well late on. Really lot of power in it, but it was well saved. And his link-up play with Bergwijn, it just reminded me of him and Sonny from last season. It's looking for that through ball, the killer through ball for Sonny all the time. Chelsea just too good to fall for it. And perhaps Bergwijn's not quite up there with Sonny for linking up with Kane that way. But it was encouraging. It was encouraging, considering how the rest of the team was performing. I thought those two really did a good job for us.
Definitely, I agree.
Could have been all different if Kane had got that first goal.
Oh, wouldn't we like to see what would have happened if that was allowed and that went in? I mean, it could have been a completely different game, like you said. It could have been a draw. We could have beat them 2-1 or something. I don't know. We will never know, unfortunately. But that's the way that football works. So
it is, unfortunately.
But no, I agree with you. I think yesterday, for me, he was probably, one of the only ones putting in all the effort, like you said, other than kind of Bergwijn and Dier. Fortunately, the goal was disallowed. We don't know what would have happened if that went in. And then, I think he was really working well with Bergwijn as well. I think they were pretty much the only two that were driving the ball forward, like you were saying. So I really think we're getting Kane back, slowly, but we're getting him back. And I think it's just the whole team now that we really need to kind of support him and just have some kind of quality in that squad to help us to like get more goals in, because for us it's goals, isn't it? We just need more goals, I think.
Yeah.
So
I don't celebrate clean sheets. I want to see
no.
goals.
Goals. That's what I want to be naming one of my
Absolutely.
next shows coming up soon, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Why not? Why not?
But yeah, that's it for our ratings. So I didn't put in kind of ratings for any of the subs that we didn't talk about. I don't know if Hill, he came on very late at the end. I think for me, I'm really sad that he just got a
Lo
run around.
Celso.
Like,
You
oh,
forget Lo Celso, but that's the trouble. You forget Lo Celso.
Mm.
I mean, I've actually gave him a rating. I'll give him like a 4 out of 10 against Leicester, because
Yeah,
he came on and he made Harry Winks look
completely
like
fully
Zidane.
played.
Yeah, he just does nothing.
No,
Absolutely nothing.
no, I
Complete
agree.
waste of time.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, maybe we'll see.
Hill, like you said, there just wasn't enough time really to rate him, was there? He came on later. You can see the lad's got talent, but we're not going to really get much out of that sort of cameo performance. So, yeah, fair enough.
Right, Kuva, we're up to crime of the week. This week's crime of the week, it's a bit of an old one, actually. It's from last Sunday when we were supposed to play the North London Derby, so I don't think anybody has any surprises about what that's going to be. But the crime is against a couple of people, so obviously against Arsenal, for the cheek of postponing the match with only one of their players supposedly having COVID. The rest of them being out for the AFCON and other injuries and things like that. And then the Premier League as well for, allowing the postponement to go ahead based on it just being one COVID issue. Like, what is that about?
Let's see who sits on the board making these decisions. So it's certain David Dean, isn't it? If I remember rightly.
I'm not sure, but let's.
There's a bit of an Arsenal connection with the FA. This is a long running issue with them. I'm holding a grudge since before I was born, as silly as that sounds. But I think most of us know the story about Arsenal getting into the top flight in the first place.
Yeah.
They did not earn promotion. They were given it under very, very dubious circumstances. So as far as I'm concerned, everything they won while being in the top division is forfeit, because they shouldn't be there. So they should hand it all back and be shamed. Yeah, send them back to South London where they belong with no silverware, like they should have. Yeah, but it was ridiculous, wasn't it? One COVID case.
Yeah.
Leicester turned up. Leicester put out a team against us. They had how many? 11 out, was it? It was a lot of players.
But Leeds as well. Remember, they had all their players out, and they played their game.
They had a 15-year-old on the bench, didn't they? Leeds still played the game. Arsenal, oh no, difficult cup game coming up. They better have a nice rest, then get beaten, which was funny.
It's just getting ridiculous, isn't it?
It stinks. It absolutely stinks. And we always seem to be the club that is on the brunt end of these things as well. I mean, you could say the same with Leeds and Leicester. I mean, if Arsenal are getting this free ride, not having to play a difficult game just because they got one case, why weren't Leeds and Leicester also allowed that same thing? Why do we get thrown out of a competition for following the rules? Are Arsenal allowed to do what they want? Oh, let's just appeal anything. And then it's not part of the crime of the week, but throw it in as well. How about the betting scandal involving Xhaka?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that can be a crime of the week.
There's a lot of things in there. A lot of brown paper envelopes being floating around, and little favours being done for clubs.
Oh, it's dodgy stuff happening all over the place, isn't there? So
there is beginning to wonder on VAR as well.
It's all a money making scheme.
Has it got a little Arsenal hotline if whether they like the decision or not?
We're always getting screwed over, aren't we? So
absolutely. Lasagna Gate, that wouldn't have happened if it was any other club, but because it's us, that's fine. If that happened to Man United back then, definitely would have had the game postponed. But no, not us.
Not us.
But Arsenal, let's just forget they're a dirty bunch of little cheats anyway. They always have been. That disgusting little club.
Mhm.
Why even go?
Scummy.
Crime of the week is them being Arsenal. It should be every week.
Yeah,
Cri-
yeah. Let's
oh,
just dominate
God,
them every week.
that's just just throw abuse at them. Put the badge up in the corner. Just you need virtual fruit to throw at these sort of things. Just catapult stuff at them.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous. They're just getting away with murder.
yeah. No,
That's
I
all it is.
agree.
Complete,
I agree.
complete. You can't say breach of the rules, but it's certainly they've been manipulated for their favour.
Manipulation. Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
yep, yep.
Um,
Lock them up. They deserve to be locked up for that, I think.
Definitely
Throw
locked
away the
up in a
key.
South London prison.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
but yeah, it's disgusting. It just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. But they do anyway, don't they?
They do.
But
They
I can't
always
can't
do.
use the word I want to use. But
Oh, well,
no, I can't. I can't.
let's not do that. Choose Nuts, you're saying crime of the week is bad refereeing. I agree with you. It's always a crime, though. It should be a crime every week, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bad refereeing, bad decision making. There's a lot of stuff that's a crime every week. So, these guys are about
Um,
to do heavy duty time, I think, for some of this stuff.
and Levy, crime of the week
Yep,
for three and a
every
bit
week.
weeks running now. That's just the transfer window crimes. And then there's the rest of them. So yeah, Levy and Arsenal, put them up every time. Crime of the week. That's fine. Gets my vote.
I'm all there with you, Coover. Right. Just in terms of crime of the week, if anybody has any nominations that you think that you want to put up for crime of the week, let me know. Send them through. Anything. It could be anything really. It could be off pitch, on pitch. Levy, VAR, Deli Ali's dress sense. Anything really. Send it through to me, and we'll put it up
Oh,
for you.
Deli Ali on TikTok as well
Deli Ali on
during the game.
TikTok. Yeah. Well, he did feature actually a few weeks ago actually. So he's quite a regular occurrence on Crime of the
Repeat
Week.
offender. Yeah,
Yeah.
get him out.
We'll get the baby oil out soon. Traore might feature soon. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. So Cooper, I mean that's it. So we've got a bit of a break coming up now. So I think we've got we've got the next game is FA Cup match against Brighton. I think on the 5th of February. So another week or so away, a couple of weeks away now. And then we've got Southampton in the Premier League, I think on the 9th of February. I mean, they're quite far away, but do you have any early predictions or anything about those ones? Any thoughts at all?
I think the rest is obviously going to help us. We've had a pretty
Yep.
heavy fixture. Well, have we? It's all been called off, hasn't it? I think it's going to aid players. Well, obviously the likes of Romero. Perhaps he's going to get
Yeah.
back in.
Hopefully he'll be back, right? Yeah.
Because if he's back, that's going to make a big difference to the team as
Hmm.
well. Just that little bit more aggression and early ball winning at the back. It helps us launch the attacks quicker. It's a good all round thing, both defensively and attacking wise. Otherwise, then the bit more of a Sonny's a little bit closer to coming back by that point.
Yeah.
It's probably
Is it
still going to be a week
early
or two
February,
away.
isn't it? I think for him.
Yeah, so
Latest.
we
But
would
yeah.
be looking. Perhaps he's back in training at least.
Yeah.
That's a huge miss at the moment.
So big.
He hasn't been on the best of form, but he still scores goals.
No. Oh, we can always rely on him. We just feel so much better with him on the just to be him on the lineup. You just know that you just don't stress as much.
Your big sigh, as you said, I know, said it all really. You
Yeah.
just it's that acceptance. Yeah, you miss him. He's got to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we could be looking at back to full strength by the time this little break's over, which is good for us.
Yeah.
Because there's some tough games coming up.
Yeah.
Brighton home to Brighton FA Cup. That's not going to be an easy game.
Brighton are a tough one. They are a tough one.
They are. I'm kind of hoping they might be resting a few players with an eye of working on their league position a bit because they're not quite firing on all cylinders, and they could get sucked into a relegation battle if they go on a bad run. So I don't know. Are they going to play full strength? What do you think? That's a tough one, Matt.
I don't know. I think from what you were saying, the break's going to do us well. I think hopefully we might have a new signing in as well by that stage, maybe.
You
We'll have.
really are an optimist.
I'm trying to be. I've followed this club for so long, and I actually know that it's probably not going to happen. But you know what? I gotta hope for the best. By that stage, we'll know whether or not we'll have anyone in. And I think the big thing I think is going to give Conte time with the squad to have a little bit more time to have them there and to train with them and look at tactics and all that kind of thing. I think he's been lacking kind of the time to do that and sit down and actually train with them. So for me, I think it's going to be good in terms of training, if anything.
Absolutely. It's one thing Conte has been moaned all season long because he always wants to have a proper pre-season with a team
Yeah,
to get well drilled,
yeah,
and it's taken us a while to get up to the sort of point he's happy with.
yeah,
Now he realizes some of the players aren't up to it, so
yeah.
that's thing.
I'm a
That's
bit
it in
scared
a
about.
nutshell.
I'm a bit scared about Southampton. I know it's a
Mm,
home game, but I'm always worried with them as well. I think they've had a bit of a good run of form lately, other
yeah.
than the Wolves game, but they've been looking good. Like against Man City the other day, they looked good.
Mm,
So,
mm. I still think it was a mistake letting Kyle Walker-Peters go personally,
no,
but
yeah,
he would have fitted in very well on this team the way we're playing
I
now
think so.
with it with that attacking sort of prowess. So,
Yeah.
likable lad as well. I thought.
Hmm.
Yeah, but we got Hojbjerg, so I suppose we can't complain too much. We did okay. We did okay. Yeah, very difficult team though.
Yeah,
James Ward-Prowse, as we all know, everybody knows what a danger he is on a set ball,
set
set
pieces.
piece.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but he's got such a good passing range from the back as well. If they got a few players that can hurt you if they're set clear with a clever ball forward.
Hmm.
And then if they do nick a goal, we can see what they did against Man City. They were quite capable of sitting back, frustrating them, and
Yep.
that's a team who scores for fun, Man City. So
Yeah,
big one. And then
yeah,
Wolves are picking up as well.
yep.
They're doing really well.
It's
Nothing's easy
scary
now.
enough. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
Perhaps this break will break their rhythm.
Yeah, let's hope. We
That's
can
one way of
only hope.
looking at it.
Yeah,
We'll recover and they'll just lose their form a bit. So let's go for that.
let's just hope that it's all going to work out for us. Start scoring some goals. That's what I need.
Yeah, yeah. Few few
Um,
few absolute bangers for goal of the month contenders. That'll do.
yeah, yeah. Let's get some higher ratings, guys. we need we
Absolutely.
need that to happen.
And Harry Kane for Golden Boot.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got a lot of catching up to do, but let's go for
he
that.
does actually. But
If he achieves that, I think we're in for a hell of a finish.
oh, that can be amazing. Yeah, I've just recently put him back in my fantasy team. So come on, Harry Kane, let's get some goals in, please.
Damn
All
right.
right, guys. I think that's going to do it for this week's show. Kuva, thank you so much for coming on.
You're
It's been
welcome.
great to
A
have you
pleasure.
here. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, what you've got coming up? Is there any shows you want to promote or anything like that?
Find me over on Tottenham Tantrum Gold with Dermot and Phil Lattis and Ben Kaufman in the mornings for the coffee mornings. Nice little laid back morning show, general chat, and Ben's in his coffee shop in the corner at the bottom of the screen. Sorry, most of the time it's quite a chilled atmosphere. We're featuring all the archived games, if you like. It's all the heroes from 60s, 70s, 80s, some of the early 90s. Just taking a look back at our club's history when football was good. I mean, it was
Yeah, it was.
really good back then.
It was back then.
Uh, a lot of fans just haven't seen that now.
Before
So,
the money took
you,
over.
yeah, if you want to see the likes of Hoddle, Perryman, Archibald, Crooks, Gilzing, Martin Peters, Jimmy Greaves, we've got all these sorts of matches on. We show on a regular basis throughout the week, and come on over, take a look. We do our own commentary on it, talking about the old times. A lot of reminiscing on our channel because as I said, things used to be good. It wasn't always like this.
If you want a bit of positivity and light in your day, guys, head over to Kuva's channel. Go head over to Tottenham Tantrum Gold. It is an amazing channel. It's great. I enjoy it. I like to relive the past as well. Yeah, there's not been a lot of great things to kind of relive really in our Spurs history, recent history. So yeah, guys, honestly, go check out Kuva's channel or go check out Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Give them a subscribe, give them a like, give them a follow. Like, can't recommend them enough. So definitely go check them out.
And here as well. Don't never forget you're in the channel you're in at the time. Like and a subscribe and
Yes.
sharing as well. Sharing the channels around. It's really important for all of us. So we also the channels, the owners, channel owners, and the people working as hosts behind the scenes. We're all really supportive of each other behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
always big up each
Got a
other's
big
channel and
family. Big
yeah,
Tottenham
yeah.
family here.
And it just means so much when people just like and comment as well. I'll just take part in the channels. It's all good fun. Helps us sort of drive things along and get into the out into the public domain a bit more. Perhaps get a bit more funds available in some cases, and then you can start looking at trying to get guests on. And some things cost money, upkeep of equipment and everything. So it all
100%.
helps us. It all helps us.
Thanks,
So
Cuba.
big up to Paxton Road as well.
Up
That's
to
one of my
Paxton
favourite
Road.
channels to pop over and have a look.
Thank
As
you.
you see, well, when you got such a lovely face presenting their player ratings, how can you?
Oh.
I was talking about
Oh.
myself.
I was going to say, oh, Cuba.
You're
Oh,
joking,
bless
you're
you.
joking. Brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you.
The
But
channel
yeah,
in general, just big up.
oh, thank you so much. That was amazing. Thanks, Kiva. Thanks for the plug. But like Kiva said, guys, please just like and subscribe to Paxton Road if you haven't already. We are growing. We can't do any of this without you. Really, really appreciate all your support and comments. Like Kiva was saying, everything that you're doing is amazing. We're looking to do some new stuff in the new year, so look out for some new stuff coming your way, new shows and maybe some merch potentially, memberships, all that good stuff. I know Kuva's a member, so thanks for your membership, Kuva. But yeah, guys, thank you
Oops,
so much
I'm
for
sorry.
watching. If you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Spursy141. But I think we're going to leave it there. So thank you everybody so much for watching. We've had such a it's been an up and down kind of show tonight, but hopefully we'll get some more bigger ratings coming in as the months progress, and hopefully we'll have some interesting and exciting news in terms of any potential signings that we might get in the next week or so. But as I said, we've got a bit of a break coming up, but thank you again so much for watching. I've been Judge Jodi. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you very soon.